George Washington Carver, one of America's foremost botanists, taught American farmers how to successfully grow crops. An authority on American agriculture, he used his tremendous scientific knowledge to make groundbreaking discoveries and innovations that changed people's daily lives. In 1921, Carver stood before members of the United States House of Representatives, testifying to them about the importance of America's peanut crop. Powerful men in the American peanut business selected him to present their case for a tax on peanuts imported from China, in hopes of strengthening the American peanut industry. At first, Carver heard jeers from some congressmen, white men who were shocked that they were being addressed by an African American. But Carver continued, steadfast in his testimony about the need to protect peanut production in America. And he prevailed. Congress passed a tariff on imported peanuts, and Carver became a national hero. Carver was born into enslavement during the Civil War and soon orphaned. After the Emancipation Proclamation, his former owners invited him to stay, and they raised him as a son, teaching him to read and write. Wanting to continue his education, Carver moved away from home to find a school that would accept African American students so he could earn his diploma. He attended Simpson College in Iowa to study music and art, but his prowess for botany became apparent, and his teachers encouraged him to study agriculture at Iowa State Agricultural College. He was the first African American student to enroll. He was so successful, his professors convinced him to stay for a master's degree, and he became the first African American faculty member there. In 1896, Carver left Iowa State to establish the agricultural department at the Tuskegee Institute at the request of its president, Booker T. Washington. While there, he developed successful methods of soil improvement and introduced farmers, particularly poor southern sharecroppers, to new crops like the peanut, sweet potato, and soybean that could be used in crop rotation. These not only could be eaten by the farmers' families, but also gave them another way to make money if their cotton crop ever failed. He even designed a mobile classroom so that he could teach the farmers right on their lands. His efforts and innovations didn't go unnoticed. In addition to testifying before Congress, he consulted about agriculture with 3 American presidents, a crown prince of Sweden, and even Mahatma Gandhi. Carver died on January 5, 1943, and is buried on Tuskegee's campus. His epitaph perfectly describes his life. He could have added fortune to fame, but caring for neither, he found happiness and honor in being helpful to the world.